What is up, everyone? Hero276 here, and welcome to today's video, and welcome back to my channel. Today we've got two teams in one video for you today, featuring the king of the Love Cup, that being SLOWKING. SLOWKING, as you know, has two forms, that being a Galarian form and a KANTO form. We're going to run the Galarian form first with the moveset of Hex, Shadow Ball, and Sludge Wave, and we're pairing it up with a Beware, and we're pairing it up with a Galarian Slowbro as well. So this is a double Galarian Bro team. And then for the second team, we are running the KANTO version alongside with a Scizor and a Medicham. The KANTO version will be running the moveset of Water Gun, Psychic, and Fire Blast to hopefully surprise some incoming Pokemon that could potentially be weak to it. Before we begin today's video, I just want to give a special shout out to my Spotify page. If you are looking for ways to support the channel and you like the music used in this video and other videos, please be sure to check out my Spotify page where you can find links to my music. My albums are currently going for $4.99 each, or if you want to listen to the music for free, you're able to subscribe to the Spotify page and listen to the music. Without further ado, let's hop right into these battles running the Galarian Slowbro first. Hopping into the first match, leading Beware into a Alomomola. Not a great lead, so I am going to switch into my Galarian Slowbro. And Galarian Slowbro has an okay matchup here. Waterfalls are chunking quite a bit, but we are able to hit for big damage here with the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb goes through, and because the Sludge Bomb goes through, I have an opportunity to flip switch. So I'm actually going to shield the Galarian Slowbro. Psychic would not have KO'd, but the subsequent Waterfalls would have prevented me from getting to that Sludge Bomb. So I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb here is going to grab a shield from the Alomomola, and just before we go down, I'll be able to reach another Sludge Bomb. This will either force the second shield from Alomomola, or they'll go down. My opponent gives up two shields to preserve alignment, but this is okay. Now I can come in with Beware. Beware will shield up the potential Psychic as it would threaten to one-shot, but I am able to shield that up. Unfortunately, we do get a defense fall. They have Sylveon in the back. I bring Galarian SLOWKING, and there's a Medicham. Galarian SLOWKING is looking really good up against this back line. Medicham, boom! Gets one shot with the Shadow Ball, and this is a CMP tie as well, so I'm able to absorb the Ice Punch. I'm going to be able to farm down as well, leaving with some residual energy for the Sylveon, and Galarian SLOWKING is going to sweep. Sludge Wave here, boom! Massive super effective damage onto the Sylveon, and we take the win. Hopping into game number 2, leading Beware into Electrode. This is an alright lead. It's better to see this than it is to see it lined up against the slow dudes, as the slow dudes take super effective from dark moves, such as Foul Play. Another interesting thing to note is that this Electrode is running Spark as opposed to Volt Switch. You definitely want to be running Volt Switch in this scenario, as opposed to, say, running Spark like this Electrode is. Foul Play does not actually KO, so I shield up the first one, but I let the second one go through, and I'm able to reach a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb here will KO if unshielded. They let it go through. And they bring in a Fire Spin Charizard, so opponent running all of the wrong fast moves today. We bring in the SLOWKING. SLOWKING here will call the Dragon Claw here. It is just a Dragon Claw, so a good call on my part. And now we're going to be able to reach a Shadow Ball here as well. Shadow Ball will threaten the KO, so the Charizard does decide to respect it with the shield. I come in with Beware to try and catch a move, but my opponent has a Galarian Slowbro in the back. Bad matchup on paper, but payback here will, boom! One-shot the Galarian Slowbro. So bad matchup, not so bad, I guess. Charizard comes back in, but we don't need to shield this. Galarian SLOWKING will be able to close here. We reach the Shadow Ball on very minimal HP, but this is a CMP tie, and so long as we're not at 1 HP, which we're not, we should be able to fire off the Shadow Ball onto the Charizard, take it out, and take the win. Hopping into game number 3, leading Beware into Blaziken. Not a great lead, since Blaziken does super effective damage here with the counters. So we switch in a Pokemon that double resists the counters, like a Slow Dude. So Galarian Slowbro shields up the move. They bring in a Beware. Kind of questionable, considering that Beware takes super effective from Psychic. I go for the Psychic, and I'm able to reach a Sludge Bomb as well. This will force another shield from my opponent. So Beware goes down 2 shields. They get in a comfortable farm down, but the energy might be pretty useless depending on what I decide to bring in. I'm going to bring in my own Beware, shield up the potential superpower as it would do the most damage, but they bait me with a Stomp, which is very unfortunate. They're not running Payback like I am. So Stomp here coming through. I guess they're not running superpower. And if this is another Stomp, I should be able to survive it. Very little HP, but they're not able to Shadow Claw farm me down before I reach back-to-back superpowers. Superpower will take out my opposing Beware. My opponent sends in a Wigglytuff. They get through a charm, but I'm able to get off this superpower, and this will do some nice damage despite being debuffed. And now it's all up to Galarian Slowking. I have to watch for the potential catch on Sludge Wave. My opponent goes for the catch, but I'm able to throw the Shadow Ball. Gonna undercharge it just in case it doesn't KO, but Blaziken is glassy. Shadow Ball, even undercharged, will KO, but I'm able to reach the Sludge Wave up against the Wigglytuff. Sludge Wave will boom! One-shot the Wigglytuff, and it will give us the win. Hopping into the next match, leading Beware into Magcargo. This is a good lead so long as they're not running Incinerate, as Incinerate does deal neutral damage here, and I am debuffing myself if I throw a superpower. I shield up the potential overheat. I correctly shield the overheat. My opponent safe switches into a Lurantis, and Lurantis is taking big damage here from these poison jabs from Galarian Slowbro. Galarian Slowbro effectively walls Lurantis here. Both Superpower and Leaf Blade are resisted. Leaf Blade does not do a ton of damage, but it starts to get me pretty low, but I am able to farm down. Let's see what comes in. Going to be an Octillery. Octillery here will not like the damage from Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will grab my opponent's first shield. I'm going to go for the Psychic since I'm only able to reach one move. It will do more damage and threaten a potential defense fall. Octillery shields it up. We get the defense fall, and this should be a good spot for us. We bring in the Slowking, but we don't need to shield up this move as it will not do a ton of damage. And we really need to save the shield for when they bring in the Magcargo so we could take it out with, boom, a superpower from Beware, which one-shots. And in comes another boom here. Payback, boom, one-shots the Octillery. I bet you haven't heard so many booms in one video, but this is amazing here. Final match with this team, Beware into Hisuian Electrode. I have 2 better responses. I safe switch into my Galarian Slowbro, and this is worst case scenario. Scrafty beats the entire team. So I'm going to basically sacrifice it. Foul Play does not KO. However, we are able to withstand the counters. Unfortunately, I do get greedy, and they throw the Power-Up Punch. I will commit the shield, but I do have back-to-back Sludge Bombs. Sludge Bomb number 1 will probably grab a shield from Scrafty, and Sludge Bomb number 2 will probably grab the second shield unless they want to preserve alignment. Sludge Bomb grabs 2 shields from Scrafty. At this point, I can bring in Beware. I am able to absorb a Power-Up Punch here. These counters will really add up, though. Beware is in the red, but it reaches a Superpower. Superpower will KO the Scrafty. My opponent sends back in the Magcargo. I pivot into Galarian Slowbro, and Galarian Slowking, excuse me, will reach the Shadow Ball. It is not enough to KO, but my hope is I'm able to shield up the next move, hopefully bank a Shadow Ball for later, and maybe do some threatening damage. They actually go for Overheat, which is a lot easier for me. I'm able to overfarm on more energy as the rock throws were not in a threatening range for them to farm down. Shadow Ball takes them out. I am not able to reach a Sludge Wave. Very unfortunate, as the Hisuian Electrode will reach the potential Wild Charge to take me out, and I unfortunately lose the game. However, we did go 4-1 in this set, so that's awesome. You love to see it with a very unique team. And right after we claim these rewards, we're going to hop into the matches with the KANTO Slowking. Alright, and after a quick wardrobe change, I am back. New day. Let's hop into these next battles with the KANTO Slowking. Pick up a lead against Electrode. Remember, now the water subtyping makes this an awful lead. So we're going to safe switch into Medicham, and we lure out an Ariados. Ariados, not particularly bad. We can flip this if we bait successfully with the Ice Punch. Ice Punch is coming through. It grabs a shield from my opponent, and now I'm going to try to go for the Psychic. I should be able to live this move, whatever it is. Cross Poison does not take me out, and I'm able to reach the Psychic. Does Ariados respect the damage? Boom! It nearly one-shots. We get the defense vault, and that allows us to counter down with just 1 HP to spare. You love to see it. So that means we're able to win Switch and Shield advantage, which is incredible. Now, this is still a bit problematic because Electrode does beat both Scizor and Electrode thanks to its resistances to both water and steel. However, Night Slashes, as you see, do start to add up, and these bullet punches are also really adding up. They're doing quite considerable damage. I'm now going for another Night Slash. They let it go through, and they have a Alomomola in the back, and this is very good for our Slowking. We should be able to reach 1 Night Slash just before going down. That'll chip at it, and basically from here, Slowking should be able to close this. Slowking does not have to shield up this first move. It will not KO. They go for the Psychic. It's resisted. Alomomola is completely walled here, but my opponent is playing it out like a good sport. Psychic here is going to grab the shield from Alomomola, and we get the defense fall, which only seals the deal even more. Now we can just safely shield up this next move, safely reach the Psychic. Psychic here is going to do more than enough damage to take out this Alomomola. Boom! And give us the win. Hopping into game number 2, picking up a lead up against Miltank. Not great because Miltank does have access to Thunderbolt, so we're going to safe switch into Scizor, and my opponent comes in with a Medicham. I'm going to go straight for the Iron Head here. I either want big damage or I want that shield. We get a shield, which is okay. Iron Head would have done some nice damage. My opponent decides to throw their energy, but this is short of a Psychic. I should be able to tank an Ice Punch here. Ice Punch will not KO, and it will allow us to reach a second Iron Head. So they're either giving us 2 shields or we're doing big damage. That's okay. I'm able to grab a shield, and Slowking gets in a very nice Water Gun farm down. Miltank comes back in, and I am going to shield this up in respect for the Thunderbolt. They do full send the Thunderbolt. Now I can bring in Medicham. They have Ariados in the back. And so long as I can bait here like you saw in that first matchup, this matchup is completely flippable for Medicham. So I bodied the Cross Poison no problem, which is even better for me because now they definitely need to respect the Psychic as it would one-shot thanks to them not applying that debuff with Lunge. So I'm going to let this move go through. It is the Lunge, but I'm able to reach the Psychic and shields down. This should KO the Ariados. Boom! It one-shots. Miltank comes in. They have to throw to take me out. At this point, I can safely rely in a shield advantage Slowking to reach the disrespectful Fire Blast. This will be more than enough to one-shot. Boom! And we take the win. Hopping into game number 3, picking up a lead, Slowking into Galarian Slowbro. Not a great lead for this team as Medicham does struggle with the double resisted counters, so this is why I'm staying in here. However, this is still overall pretty negative for Water Gun Slowking as they just reach their charge moves faster. However, just before I go down, I am able to reach a Psychic. Psychic here will grab a shield for my opponent, and now I'm going to bring in Scizor, which is an absolutely dominating matchup up against the Galarian Slowbro. I'm able to fully wall them so long as they're not running Focus Blast, which it appears they are, and I'm going to be able to commit to a hefty Bullet Punch farm down as well. My opponent sends in an Alomomola, and at this point, we are able to reach a couple of Night Slashes just before going down. My opponent sends in a Buzzwole as I send in my Medicham, and at this point, we have a shield advantage, so we should be in an okay position here. Lunge will grab my first shield. Lunge is the hardest hitting remaining move, as Buzzwole has a high attack stat, and Alomomola has a low one, and stab on the Lunge as well. So all I need to do is just shield these 2 Lunges, and I will be able to reach the Psychic after over-farming a bit. This will KO the Buzzwole, so prepare yourselves for another boom! Buzzwole goes down. Alomomola comes back in. I decide to come in with Scizor to reset the debuff and get more utility on the energy that I stored on Medicham. And we should be able to reach another Night Slash here as well if they decide to go for the full farm down, which Alomomola decides to do. Night Slash will get this Alomomola low. I am not able to farm down with Bullet Punch, but Medicham does have the Psychic stored. And non-debuff, this will absolutely KO, and it will give us the win. Hopping into game number 4, picking up a lead up against Licky Licky. This is a bit tricky, so I'm going to stay in for a bit, mainly because I didn't know what to do. But now I safe switch into Medicham of all things, and Medicham, kind of similar to the matchup with Lickitung, except they have access to Shadow Ball, which is why I commit the shield. I only know this because I wanted to invest in my own Licky, which has the current moveset of Lick and Shadow Ball. So that was a good shield by me. And my opponent sends in a Alomomola. As you can see, we did land the Psychic here, so this makes this matchup a little bit more bearable. I let the Psychic go through, and this is so that way I don't have to go down 2 shields. And this Psychic here should force a shield from Alomomola if they want to preserve it. Medicham gets farmed down. I'm going to wait out my switch clock a little bit and see what I do here. I'm going to bring in the SLOWKING and go for a very aggressive Water Gun farm down. Alomomola is bulky, and they should be able to reach a couple of moves here. Can they reach a second, though? They do not. We only get hit with 1 Psychic, which is very good. Licky comes in. They have Medicham in the back as I reveal Sizor. And this should be okay. I mean, they're running Power Up Punch, which is going to counter through my team. But I should be able to reach a couple of moves here. Can I get a shield with the Night Slash? I don't. That's unfortunate. But I get the boost. And this boosted Night Slash should definitely grab the shield. Opponent commits the shield. But now this only means I get to land a Psychic, and I have so much energy stored on this SLOWKING. Psychic takes out the Medicham. I'm able to reach a Psychic versus the Licky. Is this enough damage to take it out? Boom! Yes, it is. And we take the win. Hopping into the final game of the set, leading SLOWKING into Medicham. Overall, a very positive lead, as we're hitting for neutral here with these water guns, and their moveset is completely resisted. Even Ice Punch, which is a coverage move, is completely resisted on this. Psychic is their hardest hitting move, but it only does about half my health. I'm now going to catch the opposing Psychic onto my opposing Medicham. Psychic does some nice damage, but I have a ton of energy stored on the SLOWKING for the future. And what really tipped me off, too, was they were staying in that matchup, right? Because this is not a great matchup for Medicham. However, I am going to be able to throw a Psychic of my own. Psychic here will take out the opposing Medicham. I'm going to have to see what they bring in here. My opponent sends in an Electrode, and I'm going to be able to reach an Ice Punch just before going down. I'm very happy that this came into the playing field, because now Sizor should be able to deal with it a little bit. However, Electrode is ahead on energy, and I do have to be wary of Discharge, but they actually go for Foul Play there, which is not the move you should be going for. Discharge actually does more damage per energy thanks to the stab. But yeah, now they're going again for a Foul Play. Can Sizor reach 2 more Night Slashes in time? I'm able to reach a second Night Slash. Night Slash here goes through on my opponent, and they have a Sea King in the back. But it's going to be a battle of the kings. Sea King lets the Night Slash go through. These poison jabs are double resisted as well, so they're forced to throw to take me out. Drill Run KOs. It's the battle of the kings. SLOWKING has a ton of energy. Psychic will grab a shield from Sea King. And now the true king's colors shine. We're able to reach a Psychic. Psychic here one-shots the Sea King, and we're able to take the win. So as you can see there, a nice 5-0 set. I ended up running this team a little bit more, and I'm in the upper 2300s now that I decided to run it. Both of these teams I think are very good, so I definitely recommend using both of them in the Love Cup once it rolls around again. Unfortunately, the leagues kind of rotated, so it's a little bit unfortunate. However, I still think that they were overall very solid teams to run, and I definitely recommend, at least for Galarian Slowbro, to invest in. The SLOWKINGs are kind of inferior. I just wanted to do a little bit of a battle showcase with them since a lot of people really aren't using them. I thought it would be a little bit spicy. But yeah, Slowbro, Shadow Slowbro, and Galarian Slowbro are all better options than all of the SLOWKING variants. That said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.